Have you ever been told you don't belong somewhere, even though you worked twice as hard to be there? Have you ever been treated like a criminal in your own home, just because of who you are? Jason never thought he'd experience this in 2024. But when a powerful woman in his neighborhood, a Karen with an iron grip on the local HOA, decided he was an unwanted outsider, things spiraled out of control. What started as dirty looks and petty complaints turned into a full-scale attack on his rights. And the worst part? Karen was so confident that she could destroy him, until Jason dropped a bombshell that shattered her entire world. Jason wasn't just a successful black man. He was a real estate mogul, a self-made entrepreneur who worked his way from the bottom. He never flaunted his wealth, never felt the need to prove anything to anyone. All he wanted was to live in peace in a community he had every right to be in. But for some people, a black man in a luxury neighborhood was a problem. The first time Karen saw Jason, she felt entitled to question him. The way she stared at him, eyes scanning his body like she was looking for a reason to call the cops. The way she ignored his polite, "hello," but greeted every other neighbor with a smile. The way she whispered to other HOA members every time he walked by. Jason felt it. He knew what was coming. He just didn't expect how far she would go. It started small. HOA violations out of nowhere. Unapproved landscaping, even though his lawn was perfectly maintained. Trash cans left out too long, even though they were taken in at the exact same time as everyone else's. Then, the accusations started. One night, Jason sat on his front porch, sipping tea, minding his business, when security pulled up. "Sir, we received a complaint that you were loitering in the neighborhood." Jason's jaw clenched. "Loitering," he repeated. "I live here." The guard hesitated. "Do you have proof of residency?" Jason laughed in disbelief. Proof? In front of his own house? That's when he saw her, Karen, standing in the distance, smirking. She wanted this. She planned this. And she wasn't stopping here. The next morning, a formal letter arrived from the HOA. Jason's heart pounded as he read it. It claimed that his ownership was fraudulent and that his house was under review for eviction. This wasn't just a mistake. This was a calculated attack. Karen and the HOA board were trying to steal his home, using legal loopholes and lies. Jason's hands shook as he held the letter. He wasn't just fighting a neighbor, he was fighting an entire system built to push people like him out. But what Karen didn't know? Jason wasn't just a homeowner. He owned the entire neighborhood. Cut to the HOA meeting, tension thick in the air. Karen stands at the front, papers in hand, smiling as she prepares to make an example out of Jason. The room was packed. Karen stood confidently, her voice dripping with smug satisfaction. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, "we've reviewed the records, and based on HOA policies, we have the right to reclaim properties from unqualified homeowners." Jason sat in the back, calm, silent, watching her dig her own grave. Karen's voice rang through the room. "This neighborhood has standards. We cannot allow people who don't fit our values." Jason raised an eyebrow. Did she really just say that? In front of everyone? The board members nodded in agreement, flipping through their documents like they had already won. Jason stood up. "That's interesting," he said smoothly, "because I'd love to see those records." Karen turned, sneering. "And who are you to request them?" Jason walked to the front of the room, pulled out a thick stack of legal documents, slapped them on the table, and then he dropped the bomb. "I don't just own this house," Jason said, voice steady. He looked Karen dead in the eyes, watching the color drain from her face. "I own this entire development. Every lot, every house, including yours." The silence was deafening. Karen staggered back. One of the board members choked on his water. Another gasped, staring at the papers in horror. Jason smirked. "And according to these documents," he continued, flipping a page, I have the power to dissolve this HOA and sue for racial discrimination. So tell me, Karen, who doesn't belong here now?" Cut to Karen's hands shaking as she clutches her paperwork. The board members whisper frantically, realizing the legal nightmare they're in. Karen's smug confidence gone. The HOA board panicking. And the lawsuit filed the next day. By the end of the month, the entire HOA collapsed. The board members resigned in disgrace. Karen banned from ever serving on an HOA again. But the biggest hit? She lost her power, the neighborhood she once ruled, now controlled by the very man she tried to destroy.
This isn't just Jason's story. This is the story of hundreds, thousands of people who face injustice and discrimination every day, simply for existing in spaces they fought for. How many stories like Jason's go unnoticed? How many powerful people get away with abusing their authority? And how many more Karens are out there thinking they can get away with it? If you believe that power should be held accountable, if you believe that no one should be treated unfairly because of race, background, or wealth, share this story. Because the more people know about injustice, the harder it is to ignore.